start.
Hello everyone, welcome to our class today at ODA. We're going to be talking about adjectives. Before we start, let me introduce myself. My name is Mitali Joshi and I'm your teacher here at ODA. I graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Ohio State University in Computer Science, and then I came so I could teach English to all of you. I have been teaching for more than 3 years and I have mentored more than 15,000 students. And today we're going to be talking about adjectives. We will first talk about what are adjectives, we'll talk about the degrees of adjectives, and then also the types of adjectives. Before we start adjectives, I want to remind you all what nouns are. Nouns are naming words. So these words tell you about the name of a person or a place or even a thing. And now adjectives are words that are used to describe more about the nouns or the pronouns in a sentence. For example, she bought a beautiful red dress. Here, we have two adjectives. First is beautiful and second is red. They are modifying our noun, which is dress. So our noun here is dress, and our words beautiful and red tell us more about the dress. So these are both adjectives. What do they do exactly? They can tell you more about the size, shape, quality or quantity, or even more about the noun. For example, what do they do? They also answer questions about the nouns. So for example, Mumbai is a crowded city. That answers the question, what kind of city is Mumbai?
You have to see here, okay?
Yes. For example, Mumbai is a crowded city, which answers the question, what kind of city is Mumbai? In our previous example, she bought a beautiful red dress. Both are adjectives, beautiful and red, once again tell us what kind of dress did she buy. Another example is Rani earns more money than Raj. This answers the question, how much? Not exactly how much money does she earn, but how much money in comparison to Raj does Rani earn? So like I said, adjectives basically will answer questions about the nouns, which is how they tell you more about the nouns. Now, can you tell me what is the difference between good and better? Take a second to think about it. We want to identify the difference between good and better. So, we use better to compare two things, while good is just a description. Similarly, bad and worse. Bad, just a description word, while worse, we are comparing two things. Let's take an example. Let's learn the degrees of adjectives. We have 3 degrees. First, we have positive, comparative, and superlative. Positive degree, we have no comparison. So when we say good, it's a positive degree adjective. Divya is a smart girl. In this, once again, our noun here is girl, and smart is our adjective that is modifying our noun, which is girl. There is no comparison here, so smart is simply a positive degree adjective. Now our second degree of adjective is comparative. Comparative degree adjectives are used to compare two nouns or pronouns. For example, Divya is smarter than her sister. We are comparing Divya and her sister, and our adjective smarter tells us that Divya is smarter than her sister. And our third degree of adjectives is superlative adjectives. In superlative adjectives, the comparison is between more than two nouns or pronouns. In this case, Divya is the smartest student in her class. Our adjective smartest is comparing Divya, 1, with all the other students in her class. So it is usually a one-to-many comparison. In this case, Divya, 1, compared to the rest of the students in her class, which is many. So 3 degrees, positive, comparative, and superlative. No comparison in positive, comparison between two nouns or pronouns in comparative, and between more than two nouns or pronouns in superlative. Let's move on to our types of adjectives here. We're going to be covering 5 types. There's a few more, but these are the main ones that we need to know about. First, we have descriptive, we have quantitative, demonstrative, possessive, and interrogative. Starting off with descriptive adjectives. All they do is add an attribute to the noun or the pronoun. For example, I have a fast car. I am wearing blue jeans. Both of these situations, fast and blue, they're descriptive adjectives. All they do is tell us more about the noun. Our second type of adjectives is quantitative. They define the quantity of the noun. In this case, I bought 6 eggs from the store. 6 here is going to be our adjective, and it is quantitative because it tells us the quantity of the eggs that I bought. Usually these adjectives will answer the question how much or how many. And that will tell us more about the quantity. Our third type is demonstrative. These are used to point out something or someone in particular. For example, that house looks beautiful. We are talking about one house in particular, it's that one. So our word that is going to be a demonstrative adjective. Some other examples are this, these, and those. So any words that are used to point out exactly which one, they're going to be demonstrative adjectives. Moving on to our fourth type, which is the possessive adjective. These adjectives are used to signify ownership. For example, my sister's name is Ragini. Here, my is going to be our possessive adjective because it tells us whose sister. She is my sister. Some more examples here would be his, your, our, hers. All of these words that tell us more about the ownership of the noun are called possessive adjectives. Moving on to our last type, we have interrogative adjectives. Interrogative adjectives are used to ask questions. So all of our W words that we use to ask questions are interrogative adjectives. For example, what, when, who, where. Which mobile phone do you use? Here as well, our word which is going to be an interrogative adjective. Fun fact, students, the answer for this question would be this mobile phone in one situation, where this would end up being a demonstrative adjective. Identify the adjective here and its type. I'll give you a second, think about it. Our first example is, the tiger is a ferocious animal. Here, our noun is going to be animal. Our adjective is ferocious. And its type is going to be descriptive because all it does is add an attribute to our noun. In our second example, whose bag is this? We have two adjectives. First, we have whose. This one is an interrogative adjective. It asks a question. And this is going to be a demonstrative adjective because it points to that particular bag. It points out which bag we're talking about. So we have two adjectives here, whose, interrogative, and this, demonstrative. In our last example, my homework was very long. Once again, two adjectives. My, technically three adjectives. First we have my, which is a possessive adjective, and then we have very and long. Both of these are adjectives and they are both descriptive adjectives. They tell us more about what the homework was like. Moving on to a quick summary, adjectives are words that tell us more about the noun or the pronoun. Reminder that nouns are naming words. Then we have 3 degrees of adjectives: positive, comparative, and superlative. Positive, there is no comparison. All it does is tell you more about the noun. In comparative, we are comparing two things or two nouns or pronouns. For example, better, worse, smarter, more intelligent. Lastly, superlative, where we are comparing more than two nouns or pronouns. Usually it is a one-to-many comparison. So we are comparing one noun or pronoun with all of the others. This house is the most beautiful on the street. So most beautiful, for example, is going to be a superlative adjective. Then we did the types of adjectives. We did 5 types. Descriptive, which simply adds an attribute. Quantitative, which tells us how much or how many. Tells us about the quantity of the noun or the pronoun. Our third type is demonstrative. These are used to point out something. For example, this, that, those. We have possessive adjectives, which tell us more about the ownership of the noun. For example, my shirt, your house, my, your, his, hers. These are all possessive adjectives. Lastly, we have interrogative adjectives, which are words that are used to ask questions. For example, what, when, who, why, where. All of our W words that we use to ask questions are interrogative adjectives. Now students, I hope you had fun learning about this with me, because I want to introduce to you ODA class, which we got the Most Innovative EdTech Award. And what we do is essentially teach students using fun and coins and rewards. So you can install the app using the link that is in the description box, or go directly to the Play Store and type in ODA class to find us and install and log in. Now, do you all enjoy taking quizzes and testing yourself? What if you could earn rewards for doing that? On the ODA app, you earn coins for attempting quizzes, for coming to class on time, and these coins, once you have enough, you can use them to redeem very exciting gifts like our water bottle, MI band, speakers, cell phones, all of it. All you have to do is download the app and log in, and then attend class and answer quizzes on time and correctly. The link, like I said, is in the description box, or you can also go to the Play Store or your App Store directly and find ODA class. Thank you all students.